We had some heavy rain this morning. Just stopped about an hour ago. The sun's coming through, and I'm gonna sit in the garage and smoke a cigar. And every time I look at the lawn, I remember my papa. I miss him so much. He's not there. I don't understand. I don't understand how an animal that gives you love and affection and companionship can suffer from the same diseases that humans suffer. They should be forgiven and live a full life without suffering. Anyways, oh, I received my Sumos cushion springs. Gotta install that in the truck. Truck is not here. The truck is at the shop where they rebuilt the engine. And I went there a few days ago, and they had the engine open. In other words, they removed the intake manifold and the head, one head, and they said that one of the valves wasn't sitting right, and it was making that vibration. So that was on Tuesday. It's been there for a week, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on. They haven't called me, and I haven't called them. They have to fix the problem. Maybe they something was made by mistake when they rebuilt the engine. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's got a year warranty, so they guarantee their work, so they have to fix it. The engine shouldn't be vibrating right after being fixed. So today I couldn't do much. I'm going to sit here in the garage and just smoke a Arturo Fuente. The neighbor's got a new dog and barks at everybody. He's only 2 years old. It's a rescue. So being that the truck is in the shop, didn't go hunting. And I wasn't going to go hunting. I was just going to go pick up my trail cam. But my friend that has a cabin up there, he's got cameras. And he said there's a foot of snow up there. And this is before the rainstorm. So now with this rainstorm that we had, they're getting a lot more snow. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to pick the camera, because once they give me the truck back, I'm not gonna take a trip in the mountains without testing the engine. I gotta drive it around, so I gotta put at least a couple of 100 miles. And I drove it for 300 miles, thinking that the engine would settle down, and it didn't. So I don't know what's going to happen. Nothing died here. So the thing is that the engine to be has to be proven for me to say, okay, I'm going to take a long trip. Because I wanted to take a trip up to Tahoe, but not in this type of weather. There's no point on going out by myself in this type of weather with an engine that hasn't been, driven, tested, make sure it's running good, and the Arturo is a little stiff. That means I have no water in my humidor, but it'll settle down. So once I get the truck, I'm gonna install those Sumos and take it out for a drive and see how it rides. Um, I might even do the same thing to the Avalanche. It helps with the bouncing around. So we'll see. I have to test it on the camper. The camper really needs it because of the weight of the camper, which is 2,500 pounds. I took it to the scale. It was 86.90, and then with a half a tank. So with a full tank and loaded the way it was, with a few exceptions, not much, it was going to go up to 8,800 pounds. So that means that with the extra gear that I put in for getting out of the mud or getting out of a hole or something, I put the big high lift jack, and I put an 8 foot of chain, I think it was, and straps and come along and steel sticks, in a 8 pound sledgehammer. I loaded up because of what happened to me a couple of years ago that I got stuck for 3 days. So I want to have emergency equipment on the truck. It won't do me any good sitting in the garage, which it was when I got stuck. So I put it all on the side of the truck there, and that's why it's a little more heavy. So wow, the camper with everything in it and the 10 gallons of water, which I'm doubting that's 10. I think it's probably 8. But anyways, it's only 16-pound difference. But that the camper weighs 2,500 pounds. Whew. Because I wasn't sure, so I looked it up, and I gave the year. You go to Google. Google's got everything. You go to Google and you say, okay, the truck. You give the year, truck, 3/4 pound, 3/4 ton truck, 4-wheel drive with a pop-up camper, and it came out to that. It says it could weigh from 82 to 86 or 88. So yeah, it's heavy. So I don't know what to do to lighten it up. I don't think I can remove 1,000 pounds of weight. I don't have 1,000 pounds in food or clothing or anything like that. So the camper is made with wood. The modern ones are made with aluminum, and they're lighter. But the aluminum in the cold, it transmits the cold inside. The wood absorbs the temperature, being hot or being cold. So it serves as a sort of an insulation. But the aluminum, yeah, they're lighter. They're probably 500 pounds lighter, or around there. But when it gets cold, metal gets cold, and it holds the cold, and it's gonna be inside. So one thing I do want to do later, because I spent so much money lately, but one thing I want to do later is change the tires. Buy a little bigger tires, a little more cushion, BF Goodrich, and put those on the truck, and that'll take care of the ride pretty good. It, I've had those tires before, and that's what I got on the Blazer, and they ride very nice, very soft, and it can handle the mud. Not as good as a mud tire, but it'll handle mud, dirt, sand, and the road, all terrain. Those are the good ones. Those are the ones I like, and they're quiet. And they give you a nice cushion ride. So that's the next step, and that's going to cost me about $800 to $900. So yeah, let's end the year with what I got. Next year, it's another story. I haven't done a video about anything because right after my dog died, it just created a crater in my chest, and I just can't sit in the front of the house like I used to with him and talk about things. But I do want to make a comment on what happened to Charlie Kirk. That poor kid, God bless him, he was just being honest and truthful, uh, telling the kids in school and in college the truth, just giving his opinion, and some people don't like it. Well, you don't have to like it, not obligatory, but you don't have to kill him. If you can't open your mouth in this country and say what you want to say, being positive or negative, this country is going to hell. And there is going to be a revolution, because it's going to get to the point that people are going to get fed up, and they're going to react, and things can go south real quick. Uh, his wife, I think, I don't know if she mentioned it, but I have a feeling she's going to take up the gauntlet. She's going to follow the steps of her husband, go to colleges, and keep sending the message for good, not for evil. And what they should do is to prevent another shooting or stabbing or something. They should have those meetings, those talks inside enclosed, auditoriums, gym, uh, stadiums, things that enclosed, so security can check everybody, go through a metal detector or something. So there's not a possibility of getting shot from whatever it was, 200 yards or something. So, and I think they should do that, because everybody has the right to express his or her opinion, and if you don't like it, don't listen to it. You don't like the conversation. You don't like the points of the talk. You don't agree with his opinion. It's an opinion. It's not an order. It's not a command. Nobody's making you do anything or change anything. You want to keep believing the way you are. Well, it's you know the the consequences of your beliefs are gonna catch up to you. So you believe one way, and everybody believes different, and the other people believe the other way. Whatever. Hey, you know, I got a friend that he's a freaking socialist, and I said, dude, you came from a communist country. But those are the idiots, because somehow they still believe in that, but being here. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to try to convince this guy, change his mind. I just point out a few things. But some people are stubborn, and they don't want to admit that they're wrong, that their belief system is wrong, and they're blaming everything else, but what they believe is the right way. And I say, well, if you believe that way, what are you doing here? Why didn't you stay back in Cuba? Because it's pretty easy to be a communist when you have everything here. You know, You got the freedom, and you got the you got the money, and you got a house, and you got property, and you're still a socialist, a communist. You fucking that's to me that's stupid. That means that person's not thinking right. There's something wrong in the head. Because if you follow the doctrine of the Communist Party, you don't supposed to have none of that. How do you like it then? So I'm not gonna go and waste my time to convince anybody. I just tell them what I think, and that's it. You don't like it? The hell with you. Nobody deserves to get shot because you don't agree with whatever he said. It could be religious. It could be one thing. One thing that I think, my opinion, that Charlie Kirk shouldn't have gone into the religion part, because now the religion part deals with emotions, not with logic. It's emotional, emotional, emotional. And that's why you have a lot of religious wars, because it's not, every time I see an old movie depicting what happened in the past, most of the massacres, it's in the name of God. The Spanish massacred thousands of Indians in the Caribbean because they didn't want to believe in Christianity, or maybe because they didn't want to work for them. And I had it out with a Spanish historian. He was saying, "No, the Americans, the Anglos, are the ones that wiped out the Indians." They were saying a good Indian is a dead Indian, and I said, "Really?" And I said, "Did you forget what you guys did in the Caribbean?" And I said, "And you think that people don't know that? Or if they don't know it, I'll remind them, because I don't agree with what they did." And the thing that pisses me off the most is, if it was done by, say, pirates, say, Vikings, say the cannibals, which there were cannibals. If it was done by people like that, okay, because they're savages, right? The Vikings didn't have religion; they were savage. The Caribs, the pirates, all these people, but it was done by Spaniards, super religious, super Christian, with the God and the cross, and it's hypocritical to me that somebody so religious, so believing in Christ and in God and anything else, they will go and massacre people left and right in the name of God. That's what pisses me off about religion. The people, in the name of a deity, they go and butcher people. That it's all about emotions. Oh, you don't believe in my God? I'm going to kill you. That's why the Muslims are the way they are, and everybody else. You have to believe in their shit, not your shit. They want you to believe on their shit. That's why Charlie Kirk shouldn't have been talking about religion. Talk about the politics. That's what's destroying this country. The crap that the Democrats were doing, uh, all this woke ideology and all these idiotic things, that you're a he, a she, and a him, and a they, and so what are you, a whole family? Choose one. You cannot be everybody. It's idiotic. It's freaking idiotic. And it's idiots from school, from college, that they're swallowing this crap. Please. I don't know in what world they live. If you want to be a homosexual, it doesn't bother me at all. If there's a punishment for that, you'll find out when you die. In the meantime, I don't care. You know, celebrate, do whatever you want to do. It's your life. Yeah, but you don't have to kill anybody because you don't like what they say. So I really feel bad for that kid with Charlie Kirk. He was just trying to help people. And a lot of the young people in school started opening their eyes and realizing that what he was saying was the truth and it's logical. It's logical. So it is what it is. And like I said, I think his wife is going to take his place in talk. So I hope nothing happens. Boy, this is a long cigar. This thing is a good 7 inches. I'm gonna have to cut it because I don't think I'm gonna sit here in the cold. I'm smoking this whole thing. All right, guys. I just wanted to say something about that. And the house feels empty without Papa. It feels empty. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.